me.
Morning, Major.
Morning.
Nothing for you, as per usual. Perhaps next week, eh?
Right.
Morning, Major.
Places.
I wonder whether I could have a word with-
Sorry, Vicar. Bit of a hurry. Enemy diverted. Look out, heavy artillery. Made it back to HQ.
That's a bit rum. Listen to this, Wally. Personal column, understood? Are you happy? If not, consult Mr. Parker Pine, 17 Richmond Street. What do you make of that, old chap? Quite right. Ridiculous.
Morning. Wilbram.
Ah, yes. Good morning, Major Wilbram.
Morning.
May I take your coat?
Absolutely. I telephoned for an appointment.
Of course, Major Wilbram. Mr. Parker Pine is expecting you.
Thank you.
Major Wilbram, sir.
Ah. Good morning, Major.
Morning.
Good morning. Come in, please.
Thank you.
Coffee, Major?
Thank you.
Black or white?
Black.
Pent Cottage, Bricking Lane, Cobham. That sounds charming.
Yes, charming spot.
And does the vine round the thatch eaves run?
Sort of thing. Wisteria, actually.
Thank you.
Sugar?
Thank you.
And is there a good lady?
Bachelor.
Thank you, Miss Lemon. Please sit down. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'd say that you were a man recently returned from abroad.
Yes, that's right.
India or Africa.
East Africa, Kenya.
A fine country, I believe. And now here you are, and you're not happy being back home again. Is that it?
That's very shrewd of you, Mr. Parker Pine. You're absolutely right. Though how you know that?
No, it's my business to know. You see, for 35 years of my life, I've been engaged in the compiling of statistics in a government office. 35 years, Major Wilbraham. Now I'm retired, and it has occurred to me to use the experience I've gained in this novel fashion. You see, unhappiness can be classified under 5 main headings. No more, I assure you.
You make it sound so simple.
Well, life is simple, Major Wilbraham, if people will only allow it to be. Now, may I ask why you came back? I mean, you're obviously not a man who's retired. You're still in your prime. I hope you don't think I'm being impertinent.
No, not at all. No, it's a fair question. Quite fair. No, I don't mind telling you. Not at all.
Yes. Yes, that's it exactly. And we need you here straight away, if you wouldn't mind. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye.
You see, the Army's given me a damn good life. I've seen a bit of action. Travelled, of course. Companionship, freedom, and Kenya. That was the best posting of all. Regiment was there for 6 years old. Do you know, they actually have a pack of hounds in the White Islands. Well, it's only drag hunting, of course, but it makes a damp February in the Shires seem pretty silly. Anyway, when the regiment was due to come back, I gave very serious thought to staying on. But it's, well, it's difficult, really.
Yes, it would have been the life of an exile.
That's it, absolutely. And, you know, there are some splendid women out there, but...
No one you found you could...
Absolutely. No, I just felt, do you see, that England was my home and I should return to it, settle down, make a go of it here. So I came back and resigned my commission.
Really? Why did you do that?
Well, there's no real soldiering anymore when you face it fair and square. No, I just felt I should make a break, start afresh. And now.
Now you're restless.
That's putting it mildly.
Well, I doubt it's much consolation, Major Wilbraham, but your situation is far from unique. Would you,
No.
You see, a retired empire builder, whoever he is, exchanges an active life full of responsibility, a life of possible danger, for what? Strained means, dismal climate, and the feeling of being a fish out of water.
That's it, absolutely. All my neighbours are pleasant folk, but they've got very few ideas beyond the parish pump. I've got a little money, but I can't afford to hunt or shoot.
The long and the short is that you're bored and you find life tame. Eh?
Damn tame.
Well, having diagnosed the malady, the remedy shouldn't be impossible.
I hope you're right.
You see, I stand in the place of a doctor. Now, there are cases where no treatment can be of any avail, and if this is so, I say frankly that I can do nothing. But if I undertake a case, the cure is practically guaranteed.
And so?
In your case, I will willingly undertake.
Huh, jolly good. And the cure?
Well, what you require is excitement, possibly danger.
That's it exactly, but I'm not going to find it in dear old England, am I?
I beg to differ, Major. Well, you're quite wrong. Now, so far, you've only seen the smiling surface of English life, where turnips are applauded at village fetes and wisteria grows round the cottage doors. But you must realize that there is another darker side, where danger is commonplace. Now, if you wish, I can show you that side.
You know something, Mr. Parker Pine. I believe you can. When I first came in, first saw you, I'll admit I thought to myself, there's a chap I can trust.
I should warn you, however, that there is an element of danger.
Your claims would look pretty rum if they weren't.
Exactly so.
And your fee?
My fee is 50 guineas payable in advance.
Oh, that's rather...
But I make it returnable. If in 6 weeks' time you're still in the same state of unhappiness, I will refund you your money. No cure, no fee.
Fair enough, I agree. I'll give you a cheque now.
Thank you, Major. Now, you will receive certain instructions from me in a day or so. Be sure to carry them out to the letter.
Sir.
Thank you, Major. Oh, has Madeline arrived?
She has, sir.
Madeline, my dear.
Mr. Parker Pine.
Come here.
Thank you.
Madeline, may I introduce Major Wilbraham, Miss Madeline de Sara.
Delighted.
How do you do?
The Major is taking you out to lunch.
Oh, how wonderful.
Might I recommend Moroni's?
Certainly. Splendid.
Miss Lemon?
Your taxi will be here at any moment.
Splendid.
Your carriage awaits.
Splendid. Shall we,
Thank you.
Miss,
Mr. Son.
Do enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.
A diffident man.
But not without charm. Anyway, I think I know what's required.
Oh, I'm sure you do, Miss Lemon.
He's obviously Schedule C.
Yes?
And I'll wager you a new typewriter ribbon to a glass of sherry that you'll need a Type 4.
Type 4? I'll accept that wager and await Madeline's judgment. Type 4. Oh, did you ring Moroni's?
Of course.
Bonjour, monsieur. À votre service.
Ah, yes, very well. For two, I'm afraid we haven't booked.
That will dérange us not at all, monsieur, j'en suis sûr. I believe I have just the table for you. Suivez-moi, s'il vous plaît. Aristide, les fleurs, tout de suite. If monsieur and mademoiselle would care to follow.
Absolutely.
Mademoiselle, s'il vous plaît.
Yo.
Merci, mademoiselle. Merci, monsieur. Ah, bien, Aristide. Pour vous, tous les deux.
Oui.
Complément de la maison.
Ah, it's very, sort of place,
You don't like it?
well, it's not really a question of,
Oh, I like it. Occasionally. It's somewhat faded, don't you think? But still quite stylish.
oh, it's stylish, definitely. Though faded.
But not an everyday place. I quite agree with you. One would become tired of it.
Yes, I think that one,
But for a special occasion, it's splendid. These are for us, you know.
yes, I gathered.
May I?
Of course, absolutely. I suppose that waiter chap is French, is he? I've heard that most of these chaps are from the East End who've got an ear for the lingo. I like the French, as a matter of fact. Just wish they'd get out of the raw.
There. Oh, you do look splendid.
Good, splendid. I mean, how can you get war reparations from a country that's completely broke? And you can't mess around forever with people like the Germans, can you? Quite. Shall we, English lamb cutlets, good. How about you?
I shall have the potted shrimps and the medallion.
Right, fine. That sounds like something from the Rhine, followed by something from Burgundy.
That sounds like what you were just talking about.
What? Oh, yeah. Very good. Yeah.
Tell me, was it awful out in Africa?
Not really, no. It's pretty good on the whole.
Did you go on safari? That sort of thing.
Yes, I suppose I did, really.
It must have been pretty dangerous.
Sort of, time to time.
Did you see any tigers?
Tigers are India. No tigers in Africa. Look here. Is this Parker Pine's way of finding out about people?
It is my way of finding out about people.
I see. Well, let's choose some vegetables, shall we? Where's that waiter? It's about as French as whopping, I'd say. Wait. Excuse me.
Merci, monsieur.
It's easily done. Now then, legume.
Well,
Well,
I never knew such enchantingly simple men still existed.
so?
what type are we going to need?
Oh, don't be so excruciatingly efficient, Miss L. You know perfectly well I cannot keep the grading codes in my head.
We shall need the Army Gazette, I think, Miss Lim.
Very good, Mr. Parker Pine.
I make it type 4.
You are a bit of a witch, Miss Lemon.
I should jolly well hope so.
Do tell me we agree about something at last.
And don't forget, you owe me a new typewriter.
It's yours.
Now, I have a feeling that this is a case for Mrs. Oliver.
Huh?
How extraordinary.
What is it, Miss Lemon?
I was about to say the same thing.
We are having a good day.
Both of you? Oh, dear. I could have argued successfully with either of your individual opinions, I think. But this begins to look like nemesis.
Mrs. Oliver usually does.
Oh, well. What's this?
Females. Type 4.
Thank you.
Hello, Miss Clegg. Hello, Miss.
Hello, Charlie. Hello, Neville.
That fella's here again.
What fellow?
Fellow I come before when you was out this morning.
Well, who is he?
Prince of Wales.
Come on, Charlie. What does he look like?
Not half as pretty as you.
Oh.
Nah, much prettier. Yeah, smooth as an Austin gearbox. Delicious. A heartthrob, a matinee, monsieur.
Oh, stop it, the pair of you.
What does he want? Do you know?
No, don't have tall cod. Most peculiar. Australian.
Australian?
Yep.
Anything else?
No.
Well, I better go and see him.
Tell us when the wedding is.
Oh, be quiet, Charlie. I'll see you later.
Oh, let me enfold you in my arms. Oh, my dearest, I hunger for your touch.
Ah, Miss Clegg, there you are.
Hello, Mrs. B.
There's a gentleman to see you. A Mr. Reed. A lawyer says. I suppose he might be a lawyer, but he's got a funny voice.
Australian, perhaps?
Well, it's peculiar, whatever it is. Anyway, I put him in my parlour. You can see him in there if you like. You'll be all right in there.
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. B. I don't mind seeing him in my sitting room.
Are you sure, Miss Clegg? Are you sure?
I dare say I'll survive.
Well, I've got a good look at him. He knows it, so he needn't think he can get away with anything.
I'm sure you won't. Look, just give me a moment to get my coat off and then send him up, all right?
Well, I don't like it. I mean, I'd not forgive myself.
I'll be all right.
Well, I didn't even know they had lawyers in Australia.
Come in.
Ah, Miss Clegg?
Mr. Reed, I believe.
That's right. It's very good of you, I'm sure, to see me.
Well, I'm sorry you had to wait.
Oh, that's all right.
Do go in.
Thanks.
I'm one of the world's workers, I'm afraid. Vacuum gas company.
I see.
Please sit down.
Thanks. Very charming room you have.
Oh, thank you.
My goodness. That looks old.
Oh, yes, that's my father's old sea chest.
Really?
Mrs. Benson tells me you're a lawyer.
Yes, that's correct. I'm a solicitor, in fact. I have a very large practice in Melbourne.
Melbourne?
Yeah. Actually, I knew your father years ago when I was still only articled to the firm.
Really?
Yes, he was, as you know, master of one of the Liverpool and Oriental Fleet at that time, and he put some of the company's business into our hands.
I see.
Now, Miss Clegg, the reason why I'm here is that a year or two before your father died, he entered into some business transactions on his own behalf, which, quite frankly, had been forgotten until a reference to them came to light this year when we were overhauling our filing system.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know...
Oh, it's most unlikely that you would have heard anything of the matter. From the nature of what we've learned, it seems that Captain Clegg hardly took the affair seriously. But I have reason to believe that you might benefit as a result of it.
Good heavens. How exciting.
Yes.
Would you like a cup of tea, Mr. Reed?
Oh, no, thank you. The excellent Mrs. Benson plied me with 5 cups of tea and several biscuits. Well, now, where was I? Oh, yes. Now, the amount accruing could be considerable. But I can't go into details right now, just in case the money doesn't, in fact, pass to you.
Oh, quite. Why might it not?
Well, any claim that you might make would depend upon your ownership of certain papers. Now, these papers would be part of your father's estate, and of course they could have been destroyed as worthless. You haven't kept any of your father's papers, have you?
Well, yes. My mother put all his papers and mementos and so on in his old sea chest. When she died, I looked through it, but I don't think I saw anything. Well, I mean...
You wouldn't perhaps recognize the significance of the papers in question?
Or any of them, as a matter of fact.
I see.
Anyway, I didn't get rid of a single one of them.
You... Well, that's excellent.
Would you like to see them?
Please.
Yes, they're all in there.
Well. This is very promising, Miss Clegg. Look, would you mind if I took them away with me and studied them in my own time?
Oh, please, you take them. They're all yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, now, I'll be in contact with you, let's see, tomorrow? Just as soon as I've been through them.
Right.
Right, well, goodbye, Miss Clegg.
Goodbye, Mr. Reed.
Goodbye. And, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Nice little job you're doing there, Major.
Good of you to say so.
Know her, do you, Major?
Hardly at all.
Oh, I reckon she's got her eye on you, Mrs. Trembath. Buried 2 husbands already, you know.
Really?
Yeah, very hard woman to resist. Only one for you this afternoon.
Thank you.
A lovely bit of wisteria, that.
Yes.
Never flowers. Ah, well, I gotta get up to the old rectory, so I best be getting along. Cheerio.
Go to Eaglemont, Briars Lane, Hampstead, tomorrow at 11:15 sharp, and ask for Mr. de Souza. You will represent yourself as an employee of the Zetling Brown Firearms Company.
I say, old boy. I say. You all right, Wally?
Sit and stay.
Let her go, or I'll break every bone in your body.
No! Let me go! Let me go! No! Look behind you!
Over there!
Right!
Come on! Come on! Now we'll see. You all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
Good, come on. We don't know how many more of them might be around.
Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
There. That should put a safe distance between us. You should have a drop of this.
I really think I ought.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm not used to this stuff.
Well done.
Oh, you really were splendid,
Nonsense,
you know.
it was
If you hadn't
nothing
come along...
at all, no. Glad I was on hand. Nasty experience for you.
Yes. But you really were splendid.
It was nothing, really. You did pretty well yourself. Brutes had quite a job holding you. You sure you're all right?
Oh, much better, thank you. Good for the brandy.
Yes. Oh, by the by, Wilbraham, major of that ilk.
Oh, Clegg. Frida Clegg.
How do you do?
How do you do? Oh, I say, is he yours?
Yeah. Inseparable, I'm afraid.
He's rather nice, isn't he?
Mm. You're taking this awfully well, you know.
Oh. It doesn't seem real.
No.
Isn't it odd? In a way, I was thinking only this morning that my existence was too tame.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, isn't it?
What?
No, nothing.
Oh.
Would it help? I don't mean to pry, but would it help to talk about all this? Not necessarily now. Over lunch, perhaps.
That would be very nice.
Splendid.
Then yesterday I got a letter from Mr. Reed saying he thought he'd found what he was looking for and would I mind meeting to discuss it with him. The address he gave was that empty house, Blanchlands. And the rest you know.
I see. Well, one thing's certain, whatever it was your father had amongst his papers, it was the key to something very valuable.
Oh, I suppose so.
Must be so. I mean, that fellow Reed put a lot of thought into getting hold of your father's papers. Evidently what he wanted wasn't there, I'm glad to say.
Yes. Oh, another thing. Yesterday, when I got up to my rooms, I had a feeling that some of my things had been tampered with. Well, it was only a feeling, of course.
Well, let's see. Reed doesn't find what he's looking for, so he assumes it must still be in your room. So he sends around someone posing as, a waterboard inspector, something like that. Still can't find it, so he assumes you found it yourself. So he arranges this dreadful ambush.
Yes.
May I make a suggestion?
Oh, of course.
After lunch, I think we should go over to your place and make absolutely sure whether this thing exists or not. You agree?
I agree.
Oh, Miss Clegg, there you are, thank goodness. How'd you do, sir? Oh, Miss Clegg, I've been worrying all day. That person, I never forgive myself.
What on earth's wrong?
That person yesterday. You haven't noticed anything gone from your room? Gone missing?
No, why?
No? Oh, well, what a relief. What a blessing. I pride myself on my vigilance, but young Neville cut his knee, you see, so I was off my guard. Otherwise, I would never have, not unaccompanied. Even though I do find the stairs a trial, I wouldn't have, not unaccompanied.
Mrs. Benson, you still haven't told us what happened.
Well, from the electricity, yesterday. Well, that's what he said. Peak cap, little bag. I never thought. Something to do with a meter, start at the top of the house. Well, you don't know, do you? And there was Neville's knee. But he wasn't up there long, I saw to that. Quick dab of iodine, I was up those stairs before you could say Lloyd George as your father. Fiddling with the light he was. I never thought. But then this morning...
What happened this morning?
A man from the electricity came to read the meter.
What do you suppose it is? If we even find it? Buried treasure?
Well, buried's the word. I've been through everything. I suppose that fellow... The egg.
Sorry?
May I?
Oh, yes, of course.
How stupid of me. There's something.
Really?
Looks like a piece of soft cloth or tissue, but it's definitely there. Do you have a knitting needle, skewer, something like that?
Yes, wait a minute. There.
Cool. Now then. Come on.
Well done.
Now, let's see.
Oh.
It's in Swahili. I mean, Swahili, of all things.
Can you read it then?
Oh, yes. I say, hang on. Here's your buried treasure, in a manner of speaking.
Treasure?
In a manner of speaking. Chapembe wa Ndovu.
What is it?
Ivory, a mass of it. An ivory pit laid in dry sand, 6 courses deep, 7 by 5. As directions, most of its directions. Kikuyu. It's up in Kikuyu country, by the look of it. I'd have to consult my maps.
Ivory?
Probably the hall of some old Mwizi.
Mwizi?
Mwizi wa Ndovu. Elephant poacher. Oh. Yes, the authorities get onto him, so he hides the lot. Perhaps he even gets out of the country.
Perhaps my father gets him out.
Yes, that's possible. Years later, when he knew he'd never get back there, he gave your father that. Your father didn't take it seriously, perhaps didn't even know what it meant. Popped it inside the egg and forgot about it. Something like that.
Do you suppose it's still there?
Well, whoever's been trying to find this obviously thinks so.
Do you think you'd be able to find it?
If anyone can, yes. It could be worth an awful lot, you know. We should go after it.
Us?
Yes.
Meanwhile,
yes,
what do we do about this?
Yes, of course.
Would you look after it for me?
Well, yes, but you've trusted one man already.
But you were allowed up unaccompanied, remember?
Mrs. Benson, yes. Right. I'll take it home, and I'll work out a plan of action.
Mind you, it might be dangerous.
I'll look on that as a bonus.
Are you sure this is what Mrs. Oliver said?
Absolutely.
But is it really necessary? I mean, it's not very original, is it?
Mrs. Oliver is a writer. So when it comes to the construction of a story, we must accept her verdict.
Yes, I suppose so.
Mrs. Oliver did say that you were a great diagnostician.
Oh, thank her for me.
But that all those years with government statistics and the company of clockwork men may have withered his instinct.
Oh, really?
I challenged her on that. I told her that you'd advanced to science, the science of happiness, what's more.
Oh, thank you, Miss Lemon. No, it's just that her scheme seems a little extravagant.
Well, she's convinced that if the Major's threatened in some way, he'll realise that business is meant. And then everything else becomes that much more simple.
Well, maybe, but it's very trying, you know. I've reduced my theories to a set of precepts as limpid as the Mediterranean. On a calm day, that is, but Mrs. Ariadne Oliver should... Oh, perhaps you'd better get hold of young Lorimer.
Right.
Oh, Miss Lemon.
Yes, sir?
For you. And your typewriter.
Oh, thank you, sir. I thought you'd forgotten.
Nothing else would matter in this world. So we could go on loving in the same old way.
Relief. Of course. Why the deuce didn't I think of that before? Afternoon.
Hello? That won't do no good. She's out.
Actually, I came to see Miss Clegg. Is she at home?
Ah, your name Wilbram?
Major Wilbram, that's right.
Ah.
What on earth's that supposed to mean, you horrible little duo?
We have a little bit of coup for you. What do you do from her? Here.
Thank you.
Dear Major Wilbram, something rather strange has happened. Can you meet me at Blanchelands? Can you please go there as soon as you get this? Yours, Frida Clegg.
Where'd you get this?
Mrs. Benson, she said to look out for you.
Thank you.
She gave us a penny.
Very well. Here's a tenner each for both of you. There you are.
Tart ever so.
Did Mrs. Benson say where she got it?
No, just that it arrived for you.
Arrived? So when did Miss Clegg go out?
Just after she come back. I mean, she come back and she went straight out again.
Miss Clegg?
Yeah.
I see. Thank you, Ben. Carry on.
Oh, damn. Sorry, old girl.
Don't be silly.
I knew there was something wrong, and still I walked right into it. I suppose you didn't send me a note.
And you didn't send me one.
No.
And have they got the map?
I suppose they must have if I had it on me.
Well, Major Wilbram. It's all turned out very satisfactorily, wouldn't you say?
It's Reed.
No. Well, I can hardly expect you to agree. Anyway, we have what we were looking for. My most appreciative thanks. Unfortunately, this also means you are now dispensable. Therefore, you will be dispensed with. Enjoy your last moments together.
Read!
John, don't.
Read!
It's no good, you know. My God, you're going to drown.
No, they're damn well not.
Whatever happens, I just want you to know.
I know. Me too. Worth living for, what you say.
I would. I would.
Right. Now, you're going to have to guide me.
Yes, of course. Up a bit. A bit further. A bit to your left. Not so far. You're there. Are you all right?
Yes. I'm all right.
Are you all right? Try them. Just try them once more. Yes, really. Well done. Let me see.
No, I'm all right. Got to see to you. Your feet tied?
Yes.
Ah, damn.
I don't think that was quite what Mrs. Oliver had in mind.
You can turn that thing off now.
Poor man. I've never seen anyone show that sort of courage before.
Who'd want to play the hero?
Oh, that reminds me. Did you get the job in the Cochrane show?
No. Too tall or some such rot.
Oh, bad luck.
Yes.
Anyway, I've been told to tell you that if you come into the office tomorrow, the overwhelmingly charming Miss Lemon will give you your fee.
Oh, jolly good. Oh, by the way, I'm looking for you.
Are you sure I'm not hurting you?
Yes. It's worth a bit of pain having you here to do it. I'm glad they found the map.
Why?
It was a fake. The original should be at my bank by now.
Jolly good.
So we can still go.
Go.
To find it.
Oh. Good.
You like the cottage?
Oh, it's beautiful. Just right.
For whom?
For you.
Or for us?
Does that mean what I think?
Absolutely.
And Wally?
Doesn't look as though he'd mind.
Morty.
Ah, thank you. Another case concluded. I think the Major's getting value for money, don't you?
Oh, certainly. But was Lorimer really worth the 8 guineas he collected the moment the office was open this morning?
Miss Lemon, you are the victim of thespian prejudice. The poor fellow is an actor, it's true, but he's not a scoundrel because he calls you darling.
Now, our 2 assailants were much more reasonable, 30 shillings apiece.
Yes, well, in this world, the unskilled will always suffer.
Unless they sit in the House of Lords.
Oh, I see. You're right, as always. By the way, how on earth did you manage with the Swahili?
Thank you for reminding me. I consulted the Hartford Commercial Language Bureau. I'm afraid that's another 38 and sixpence.
Mr. Parker Pine?
Mrs. Ariadne Oliver.
And sounding very cross.
Mr. Parker Pine, do you realize you could have ruined everything? Have I not impressed upon you time and time again the importance of detail? Detail, Mr. Parker Pine.
But I'm a master of detail, Mrs. Oliver.
Your kind of detail, not mine. Really. It's like teaching music to a tram. Why didn't you tell me the basement was gaslit? Could have been disastrous.
Ah, your kind of detail, not mine. It should have occurred to you.
If you had thought to mention it, it would have occurred to me. Silly fellow might have gassed himself. Men defeat me, they really do. Couldn't he have seen that picture with the broken glass I put there specially so that he could cut himself free? Human nature, I suppose. I've noticed it before. People simply will not see what you want them to see. I'm always having this trouble with my characters. I put a perfectly good clue in front of them. They simply turn the other way. It's too tiresome.
Tea, Mrs. Oliver?
No, thank you. Anyway, apart from your unfortunate oversight, everything went off well, did it?
Yes, very well.
I'm glad.
There's just one thing.
What?
Don't you think that on a future occasion the mise en scène might be a little more original, perhaps?
No.
No?
No.
Oh.
What we are talking about, Mr. Parker Pine, is the basis for my being able to sell my 40 books in 20 different languages. That is to say, the conservatism of the generality of mankind. People like to know where they stand. They read about buried loot, maidens in distress, water rising in the cellar and so on, and they're thoroughly familiar with them, so that when they experience these things for themselves, they really know they've had an adventure. Put them through something too unfamiliar, they merely have a disagreeable experience they'd rather forget. No. Life should imitate fiction wherever possible. Now I must dash. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your help, Mrs. Oliver.
Any time, Mr. Parker Pine. As long as we get it right in the end.
Speaking of which...
Yes?
Do you think they'll try to find the ivory?
I sincerely hope so.
You hope so?
Yes?
Oh, well, it's inevitable they will try, I suppose, but I think I'd rather have liked to spare them the disappointment.
Nonsense. They're realists, both of them. Their expectations won't be very high. Most important he should show her Africa. Vital. It's his soul, the very heart of his experience. She must see it. Of course.
Of course.
Are you very disappointed?
It's funny, you know. When I saw the mission station and the road and everything and the canning factory built just where the stuff was supposed to be buried, I didn't mind. More than that, I was actually quite pleased. It was only then that I realized how happy I was. If we'd found your ivory, things would have changed, and I want nothing to change. That makes sense.
I was dreading finding it too.
Good Lord, were you? You should have forgotten all about it, gone up country.
I thought you'd be disappointed.
I thought you would be.
Do you know it's our anniversary?
Really?
6 weeks to the day we met.
6 weeks?
Well, what is it?
Just remembered, chap owes me 50 quid. Still, I suppose.
What?
6 weeks. Seems more like a couple of days, doesn't it?
Weren't we lucky? Finding each other.
Weren't we just?